Hey guys, we are back again on another video. This time we'll be talking about the image tag. So this time we want to get images on our web page, and we both know how images make the web page really pop out. Images make our web page look really beautiful. Yeah, this kind of beauty we cannot get from text. We can actually get them from images, and they mean a lot. So let's see how we can get this done. So as usual, we want to open up our favorite text editor, Visual Studio Code. Let me just get this out. Alright, this is what we did last. We talked about formatting text in HTML, so I'm just going to take this off. Alright, and now we want to click on New File, select the language, HTML. Great. Now, we say save. Let's just call this working with images. Alright, so we have this save. Can use our shortcut of the last time, shift and one exclamation mark. Then we have this. Then we can say working with, I'm just going to say HTML 5 images. Great. Alright, so to get this done, we want to use a tag. It's called the img tag, more like a short form for image, but img. And then what this tag does is it embeds an image to your web page, to your web document. So as usual, with the opening angle bracket, have this. Now, there's a very required property of this tag. It's called the src tag. So more like source. It's like this, src. And then we specify the source of the image. So this could be an image on your computer disk. So in that case, we would specify the file path. If it's an image on the internet, we'd have to specify the URL to that image, right? The exact URL to the image. And that's all we need to get an image on screen. So now we need an image. Let's open our browser and let's visit one site I like so much, on splash.com. We can get images there. Let's say a random image. Let's see. Now we have some. Okay. This looks great. I'm just gonna click on this. So why I like this site, the images you get here, you can really use them, right? So there's the license agreements about the image. So you see the images, they can be downloaded and used for free for both commercial and non-commercial purposes. You don't need permission, but then you should give attributes, right, to the person. So I'm just going to click on this. I don't want, you can go for any size, but let's just take the medium size, right? So now we have this image. Let's just rename it to image 1. We want to give it a good name, but we can do this for now. I'll copy it. Then I want us to go to documents, code by Moonlight, HTML. Now I can paste this image here. Now we have an image on the same folder with all our documents. Okay, so we have an image and we can just say image. Oh, we have this nice auto completion. Then we click on enter and we save it. Right, so as it is now, it's ready for us to view it on the browser. Another important tag I want to talk about is the alt tag, right? So you use to provide textual description to your image. Why would you want to do that? Say for example, your image wouldn't load due to bad internet connection. Maybe you use the wrong link, you specify the image part wrongly, which you shouldn't do. Or maybe the source of the image is blocking your domain, your own site, from embedding such image on their page. They can do that, right? They can restrict access to some resources. Then you want a fallback text that would describe the image, right? So let's look at this and say, putting a light bulb. So this could be holding a light bulb, right? So this is all we need to get an image on the screen. And to render this, how would we normally do it? Would go to file and we open it. But I think let's try another method today. So there's an extension I like to use. It's called live server. So you want this one? Nope. Live server. Yeah, this one by Ritwick Dey, 19.2 million. Nice. So we want to install this one. It's very useful. It's very nice. So we've installed it. It makes accessing our document easy, right? It gives us like a live server, so we don't have to go back to our file manager. We don't have to go back to our document, right, and then go click on it. We could just run the folder we are on as if it's a server. I'm typing. So, but for us to use this, we need to open a folder. This is what I'm just going to do. Let me just open this HTML folder, right? So now we have all our documents here. This is not a good idea. This is a bad idea. I'm going to this. Now I want to create a new folder just for images. So I want to use this images like a folder. So let's say working with images is a folder. And then I want to take this file into the folder. And then I want to take this image. Now I'm here and I don't like this name of this image, right? So I can say holding here, right? Wow, great. And then it's a JPEG file, JPG, right? So now let's do this. Let's go back. Let's open our folder. Now you might think this is way harder, but I assure you it's way easier because most times you want each project to be on the folder, right? So it's easier to execute. So now we are here. We have our project in a folder. What we can simply do now, we are on this. This wouldn't work, right? We've changed the name. So I just wanted us to note that we have to use the correct link, right? So let's do holding light bulb. Yeah, we do it like this because they're on the same folder. Great. So what we can do now is we can right click and say open with live server, and then it's going to open our default browser, and then just we have our page rendered. Now this is so big, right? Oh, we can't even see. So another attribute we have that could help us is the width, and then this attribute accepts numbers. These numbers are more like how wide we want it to be, and is measured in pixels, right? So what we can do now is we could specify this width. Let's just say we want this to be 100 pixels. That'll be too small. 300. Let's have a nice view of our image. Now you see it's 300 pixels wide and it sits nicely on the page, right? So this width attribute is used to set the intrinsic width of the image, the exact width in pixels, how it's going to be on the screen. And we could also specify a height, right? Let's say we could say 200. This would set the intrinsic height of the image to compress the image down. Now these are the image scale. Now we've lost the scale of this image. This image doesn't look, it's not scaled proportionally, right? So I think we could specify just the width. The browser, right, would try to guess the height that, and it will scale it proportionally to the width, right? To scale the image proportionally to the width. So we still have that nice scale. And then also if we specify the height, let's say 200, it will try to figure out a width that will make it scale nicely. Right, you see now, gotten a height of 200 and then it has scaled it properly. Great. And that's really all to it. So now we are accessing an image on our file system, right? Also, the image could be on a remote location. So let's just duplicate this. I'll show you a shortcut. So let's try to get another image. We could just do this. We could duplicate this, right? That's Shift Alternative and done, right, for Windows. Shift Option done for Mac. Okay. So this, we want to specify an image on a remote location. So let me just do on splash.com. I'm still going to say error. Oh, already I have it. Image. This time I'm just going to pick this one. This image looks very great. Oh, what if I just, that's variant. Nice. Oh, it's paid. There are some paid images. I need the free ones. Okay. I like this. Now I don't want to download this. I think I could do this. Could right click on this. Let's see, copy link address. Let's see if we paste this, what it does. Oh, it triggers the download, so that's the direct link. Let's see, we can specify this. Let's see the image and then great. So we could say do something great. Then we'll set the height to 200, so it's going to try to scale it right. So now let's discuss setting the height or the width of this image doesn't reduce the image size, right? So the complete size of the image would be downloaded by the browser. So if the image is 1 megabyte large, it's going to download that. So one advice, it's good to use image with good quality on the web, but with maybe some very friendly data size. So maybe like a few kilobytes and all that. So you really care about how much bandwidth, how much the user is going to download, because a larger image could really slow down your website. Great. And then talking about image formats, JPEG is good, but now the crave, if you really want to have good images that would scale on maybe different screen sizes properly, a very good image format you could want to check is SVG. Yeah, I think it's called scalable vector graphics, right? And they are good image types, right? Good. But then don't overthink it, work with what you have for a start. All right. Now we have this image and this document on the same level, right, in the folder. So we are just doing this, calling this because they are on the same path, right? It's an absolute path. So let's say, for example, we have an image in a folder. This is usually done. So we normally have our assets folder. Then we could have images, right? And then we would want to drag these images into this image into this images folder, right? So now it's here. Now you would notice that if you click on that, it was telling us control and click on that, it doesn't take us to the image. So that means our path is broken. So what we can do, we could simply use like a dot and forward slash, right? It gives us the folder and press enter. Then it gives us the next folder, and now we have our image. So you notice how we are going, right? There's a whole lot to this, but then this is like the basic way to access images that are in nested folders, right? Great. If we go back, still rendering correctly. Another very important attribute we have for images, so I'm just going to take one off for no reason. There's a property called loading, right? And then we have two values. The default value is eager, and what we are saying is the web browser should automatically, the DOM is rendered, the web browser should just start downloading this image from wherever it is, right, for rendering purpose. It's the default settings. But then sometimes we do not want this, so we would be so considerate to save some bandwidth. We want our image to render very quickly, we want our website to render very quickly, right? While we want the browser to take its time to fetch those images which are not currently on the viewport. With that, I mean, we have like let's say we have like, I'll use this pixel to explain to you, right? So now we are on this part of the page, right? We might not have scrolled so much to the bottom, and then we do not want them to render like those bottom images until we get there, right? So this has already had time to not do this. So we could say we don't want this to be loaded eagerly, we want it to be loaded lazily, and then lazy, it's another property. Right. How do we see this in action? Let's see if I can demo this. So let's do a lorem. I want like a lorem times 2000. I want a very large dummy test, and then let's go look for an image we haven't used before. So maybe the other ones might have been cached. So I want to take this, copy link address. No, I want the large copy link address, right? And I want to specify this as a path to the image, right? Then those are windows, right? So I'll say Windows. Okay. So now live server is rendering that, and what the browser will do is, when we've not gotten to the image, it won't try to fetch it. But then when we are getting close to the image, because of this property we specified, it should load it lazily. It would then try to fetch the image for us. It's already fetched, right? Handled properly. So that's what this does. Fetch. And then another advantage I fail to talk about on live server is that once we make changes to our page, right, we don't need to come to the browser and then do a reload. So I'll just undo this. So now we've made these changes, remove this test, and we've saved. If you notice how we go to the browser, we don't need to come and do a reload. So this is a better way of running our web page. So we've pretty much talked about so many of the properties, the most important properties while working with images. This is a very nice way to structure your folder. We want to have some assets, want to have like an image folder. It's good to start learning these things, start keeping things in the appropriate folder, right? Great. So I hope you've learned a thing or two about images today. There's another way to embed image on a web page. We have a picture element. We have so many ways to embed images. But for now, this is like the most important way. This is like the most common way, and this is what you'd really be using often, right? So let's go over this again, right? We have the image tag. It's an empty tag, right? It doesn't have a closing image tag, but then it has a bunch of attributes. One of them is the source, src, that specifies the path to the image, basically where we can look for this image, right? It could be on a remote computer, it could be on the same hard disk code, right? And then we have the text description we give to the image with an alt tag. And I told you that this is important. For example, for some reason your image is not able to render, so let's just purposely like do a mistake and we don't have an image, right? So image is broken, but then we can actually have a feel of what's supposed to be there. This is also good for search engines to help you crawl your images properly, right? So now we're talking about accessibility. So it's good to always specify an alt tag to your images. And then we have height, set the intrinsic height, and then we have, all right, you can just hover on this, then to tell us about it, set the intrinsic height of the images in pixels. And if you don't know what pixel is, it's just another unit of measurement, right? So growing up, we have centimeters, decimeter, millimeters, milligrams, and the rest. So right, so it's just another way of measuring stuff. So very useful for web, right? So a pixel is one tiny dot, right? Remember how we talked about atom being the tiniest? So a pixel is one tiny dot on the screen. We can't really see it. It's just one dot. Like rendering this guy, it's composed of a whole lot of pixels, right? We cannot see them with our human eyes. Great. So we have like, now we say the height is 400, so meaning we have like 400 of those on the y-axis. I try not to get too technical, but it's good. So thanks for watching this video on images. I hope you've been able to learn a thing or two. The next tag we are going to be talking about is the anchor tag. Yeah, Just wanted to give you a teaser. Bye for now. It's Code by Moonlight. Please subscribe to our channel. Thanks.